No
organic.
pesticide.
When I grew up,
No
organic
pesticide.
was they took the manure from the cow and mixed it with the soil, and that was, that's organic. And now they got all these things.
Really?
Okay, guys. Are we ready?
If we're ready, it's 8:15, guys, I'm missing the voice, here we go.
We're gonna get sued, we started late, we're gonna get sued.
All right, guys. We are live on Instagram. We are recording on, what's it called? Riverside. And apparently we're also recording on a couple other things live, but it's a new thing I'm trying, so see if it works. Anyway, welcome aboard, guys. This is our B'nai Noach team and a wonderful group of people. We get together and we want to know what life's all about. And so we are exploring the Torah. What does the Torah have to say for humanity? And let's see who's joining us. Where are you guys watching from? What state, what country, what planet? We'd love to know where our people are from. Hey, welcome aboard, everyone. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. All right. Rita, welcome aboard. All right. So today's class, we're going to go deep. We always go deep, don't we? Okay. So in this class, we talk about Shalom from Seattle, planet Seattle. I heard of that planet. Nevada. We have people from Nevada with us. Pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so some more people are joining us. Someone's from Portugal. So, yeah, pretty cool. So, Shalom. Welcome aboard, guys. So, just want to recap so everyone's on the same page and know like what this class is all about. And like what we do here. So basically, for too long, people have been coming to rabbis and saying, teach me the Torah. People who are not Jewish have been coming to rabbis saying, teach me the Torah. And rabbis have rightfully been saying, nah, you're okay. Follow the 7 laws of Noah and you're good. And basically sending people away. And I believe that this approach is wrong. For someone to truly follow the 7 laws of Noah, you can't just give them a little card which says, don't do X, Y, and Z. In order to follow the 7 laws of Noah, it's got to be a lifestyle. And in order for something to be a lifestyle, it needs to be an immersive experience. So I am of the opinion that we have to be teaching Torah to humanity. And that's what we do here on Mondays. Now, for those that are online and you were looking for our class for the past 2 weeks, I apologize. Last week I was in Florida. And what was the week before? Something.
You went to Poconos?
Oh, I was in the Poconos. Yeah. Oh, I had a funeral, 5 funerals in 1 week. And yeah, so we're back. Welcome. We are back. Okay. So over here is where we teach Torah to humanity. Everyone, I believe, could be inspired by Torah. And so let's start. Okay. So there's a Yiddish expression that the Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, used to say. Teach you a little Yiddish here. You see, you can get a little English, Hebrew, Yiddish. Okay, the expression is mir darf leben mit dem Zeit. You got to live with the times. And that doesn't mean the New York Times, because it's a horrible publication, especially when it comes to Israel. But what it means is we got to live with the Torah portion of the week. So the Torah portion is divided into throughout the whole year, and we read a little part each week. And the most important part of the whole Torah we read this past Shabbos, and I feel like I got to share it with you. So what do you think is the most important story we read? The giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. Because the giving of the Torah is not something just for Jewish people, it's for everyone. When the Torah was given, the 10 commandments were given to humanity. The 7 Noahide laws became obligations instead of suggestions. And we, humanity, all were given a mission. And the mission is to bring the world to the highest spiritual place it could be. And that is when everyone follows the will of God. So that mission begins when God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, 613 commandments, and to non-Jewish people, 7 commandments. And so I want to talk a little about this. story because it's such a monumental story. Let's take a break for a second and look online. We have some more people join us. Let us know where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? We have people I saw from Portugal, from all over the place. So it's pretty cool. All right. So it's kind of like the Pope and, okay, let's do it this way. It's kind of like the Pope and the Dalai Lama convert to Judaism. That's kind of what happened in the story we read this week in the Torah. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be offended if the Pope converts to Judaism or the Dalai Lama. So the truth is, us Jewish people, we don't want anyone to we don't need anyone to convert to Judaism because you could be a good person and follow the 7 Noahide laws. You don't need to convert. But I said this just to make a point. Before the Torah was given to the Jewish people, Moses' father-in-law travels from Midian and joins the Jewish camp. And he was like the foremost expert in everything spiritual at that time. He experimented with every kind of idolatry, which was the only thing that was known at that time. He experimented with it all. Not only did he experiment with it, but he became literally an expert. He was a master of all things spiritual. In those days, it was mainly idol worship, but he was. And then he hears the story of his son-in-law, Moshe, leading the Jewish people out of Egypt, the splitting of the sea, the 10 plagues, and all the miracles that take place. And he makes a trip with Moshe's family, who didn't go back to Egypt with Moshe because there's enough slaves in Egypt. We don't need more Jewish slaves, right? So now he comes with Moshe's family to meet Moshe. And he joins the Jewish people. He converts to Judaism at that time. So it was kind of a big deal. I would say Jethro or Yisro was the quintessential seeker of truth. He was looking for the truth. He kept trying this idol worship and that idol worship. And he became an expert. It didn't do it for him. And then finally he comes and he meets the Jewish people, Moshe, and he hears about the giving of the Torah, and he says, sign me up. So for anyone who's a seeker of truth, a good person to look at is Jethro. It's interesting. The Torah is given. Yisro goes back to Midian, and he doesn't join the Jewish people. What's the reason why did he go back? And many say he went to go teach the 7 laws of Noah to all the people in Midian at that time. So he was like on a mission to teach morality to humanity. And that's where he went. It's hard to get an answer from a Jew. How are you? You won't say fine, okay, not so good. You'll always hear Baruch Hashem. It's hard to get an answer from a Jew. How are you? Baruch Hashem. Thank God. Good? Yeah. Bad? Yeah. But you didn't say. I said Baruch Hashem, blessed is God. Who's the first one to use the words Baruch Hashem in history? It actually was a non-Jewish person by the name of Jethro. Moses' father-in-law. Yes. When he comes to the encampment of the Jewish people and he hears what happened in Egypt, the 10 plagues and the splitting of the sea and the downfall of this terrible oppressive nation, the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, and he hears what Amalek tries to do to the Jewish people, and he hears the Jewish people are victorious, he has 2 words to say, Baruch Hashem. And since then, we've all been inspired. And I know many people who are not Jewish, and you ask them, how are you? And they will say, Baruch Hashem, blessed is God. And it comes from Jethro, a non-Jewish person. So that's another tidbit of information that I think is pretty cool.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
The other day, we were like traveling from Virginia.
Sure.
And it was raining. My wife says, not a good day. I said, every day is a good day. Rainy, snowing, or sunny.
Every day is Baruch Hashem.
It's a good day.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. I said, if it's too hot, people complain. If it's too cold, people complain. But it's a good day.
That's right.
If we can wake up in the morning, it's a good day.
We have to speak things into being. So speak that it is a good day,
It is
for
a good
whatever
day.
reason,
Mhm.
you know, that we are safe, that we
Yeah.
are protected.
Are you having a good day? How's your day? All right, guys. Yeah, you're right. Well, now you have the lingo for it too. You have the lingo, Baruch Hashem. You could just say Baruch Hashem, and you're in, man.
I always say God willing.
God willing.
Someone says, I'll
Ah.
see you tomorrow.
I say that too.
God willing,
And
that's right.
For a really long time.
God willing, that's
I
true.
say that.
All right, someone wants to join the live, so I'm not taking other people on this live right now, but maybe another time. All right. Anyway, Baruch Hashem is taught to us by a non-Jewish person, Jethro, Yisro. Okay, so you see a trend in history. You see a religious trend in history where many times there are religions that say, we are right. So what do? They impose their religion on all people, even forcefully. So my question is, if someone forces you into a religion, did you actually convert? What do you guys think? Yet, it seems to be a trend. There are many religions in history that came to power and they forced the belief onto people.
I was forced to be Catholic.
You felt like it was forced on
Yeah, I
you.
was definitely forced.
Right.
It's
No,
imposed.
no religion was imposed on me.
That's good.
My parents didn't,
They didn't impose it on you.
yeah, well, they really didn't have a religion. My dad did, but not
Right.
my mom.
My
Like I said,
parents,
we didn't know, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that she was an Ashkenazi Jew. I think I told you this.
Right.
And so clearly, we never, even though we grew up in Puerto Rico where everybody was pretty much Catholic, we never went to church because she didn't know any of the stuff that she
Really?
was saying. And then we were kids and we would look at her and start giggling.
Yeah.
And then the priest was like, okay, you guys need to go somewhere else.
So
Yeah.
I think you might very well be Jewish, by the way. That's what's sounding like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they do as long as they are practicing the religion.
but let me,
Do they
Nancy,
want
you
to
said
convert?
you went.
I don't think- yeah, but what if-
It was
what if-
mostly fearful.
What if they're practicing out
All
of
my
fear? They don't
friends
actually believe in the
Catholic
religion.
school. I went to a
Yeah.
public school, but all my friends went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
So they asked me, you should go to church, you should do communion, because they found out I was 12 or 13 and never did a communion. So they talked me into it, and I mentioned it to my mother, and then my mom said, yes, you need to start going to church. And my parents weren't religious at all. So when I started going to the church, that's when I had a problem with it, because they kind of put Jesus on me. Jesus is God.
So I have a thought about what you're saying, Tony. And the thing is, I think in the Jewish community, many people will say it was forced on me too. Right? Like, I think we have a job as parents to sort of, I don't like the word force, because if force, it's not going to stick. But we have to influence our children in the way that we believe is right and moral. So whatever religion you are, if you believe that's truth, I think you should do that. But the force thing just doesn't work.
No.
Right? So when you force it on people, it doesn't work. And that's why it's interesting that before God gave the Torah, we just read about it in last week's Torah portion, to the Jewish people, God actually went to many different nations and says, do you want the Torah? Yeah, do you want? It's a question. And they said, well, what's in the Torah? And God said, don't kill. And this nation said, it's kind of what we do. And this other nation says, and different nations didn't want it or asking what's in it. And then God comes to the Jewish people and says, do you want the Torah? And the famous words is na'aseh v'nishma, we will do it, then we will understand it. Right? And it kind of makes sense. Like if God wants to give you something, it's probably good, take it. Right? We will do it, then we will understand it.
But it was a choice and not force.
But it was a choice. And so you see, and then you see another story. You see someone who's not Jewish, Jethro, who joins the Jewish people, and he also makes a choice. So we read pretty much the story of mass conversion, all the Jewish people and Jethro. We see people who come to it because they have a choice. And if you want something to be real to someone, they have to choose it. If we force and if we cram ideologies, down people's throats and we force them, it just doesn't, superficially it works, but long term, it just doesn't work.
But I think it separates people. I've seen cases where my friend's father was like a minister.
Yeah.
And he was so strict and imposing that religion, but it did. Once they got a certain age, it just went the other way.
Right.
It just went away.
Right.
Everything that-
Because they never made a choice. And by the way, in a situation where a Jewish family adopts a child, and they bring the child up Jewish, at the bar mitzvah, you turn to the child and you say, do you want to be Jewish? You have a choice. And if they say no, they're not Jewish. Even if their mom and dad who adopted them want them to be Jewish. Because you have to choose. Yeah. Now, it's interesting, once a person's born Jewish, you don't get to choose anymore. Which means you could choose not to follow it, that's up to you, but you're going to always be Jewish. You have that Jewish soul. However, when it comes to actually conversion, there has to be a choice. There has to be a choice. And in the very religious Jewish communities, we kind of have that situations as well. Sometimes there are very strict parents who basically, force their children to follow everything. And I don't think long-term it works. It just doesn't work. There's a certain amount of time where you have control in your kids. Most people think it's till they're 16, but the truth is it's only till they're 8. You just don't know about it. That's all.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Right. That's why Protestants don't do infant baptism. Conversion has to be a choice. Okay, very
My
interesting.
kids are the way they are now because they have a Jewish background.
Yeah, well, you gave them something beautiful, but they're choosing to continue.
Yeah.
Jonathan's at the age where he doesn't have to show up anymore if he doesn't want to.
Well,
Most kids
my
have-
Jewish mother.
Oh, he's got an Israeli Jewish mother. Anyway.
But no, is really, what's it called? She's encouraging.
Right.
She's not forcing.
Well, she's also giving a loving religious experience.
Yeah, she keeps
Right.
it out there for him to keep
Yeah.
making choices.
Once we get them out of bed,
Yeah,
and get to the synagogue, he
Yeah.
loves it.
I know.
And then we speak about it, and he helps them every week. Get through everything.
So God gives the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai. It's the biggest revelation. It's the biggest revelation, right? They literally hear God's voice. The Medrash says that God says, I am the Lord your God, the first of the commandments. And everyone, their souls just leave them. They die. It's like an overdose. It's too powerful. I am the Lord your God. Boom! Souls go up. Moshe resurrects the Jewish people. They come back to life. Wow, that was awesome. What's next? Right? Don't have any other gods. Boom! Their souls leave their body. It's too much. Third one, right? And then the Jewish people tell Moshe, this is really cool and stuff, but we can't keep doing this. It's too much. Why don't you have God speak to you and you tell us what he says? And the next 7 commandments are taught that way. So the revelation of Sinai is a pretty wild claim. Basically, every single person who was there heard God's voice, millions of people. And I would extend that to say all of humanity experienced a revelation because God is not like in a little, speaker system on the top of a Bluetooth system on top of Mount Sinai, but God is everything. So the very rocks and trees and flesh of human beings echoed and reverberated, I am the Lord your God. So around the world, it was known that God revealed himself. And so no one could have said, I don't believe you, because they heard it. It's the most wild claim of mass revelation that exists. There are many religions that have revelations. It was a few prophets sitting in a room. Maybe it was one prophet, It was a group of disciples that were deep in prayer, and they got a message from beyond. And they told the people, listen, this is what I heard, and the people believed them, and a religion was formed. But the giving of the Torah is this claim that every single person heard it. So all you need is like people to say, hey, I didn't hear it. And then like you'd have difference in opinions. But that message for every Jewish person was passed on from mother to daughter. Hey, look, this is what I heard. Hey, grandma told me she saw this. And that is so it's a hard claim to pull off if you're going to pull one off.
No, is that Jewish and non-Jewish?
So
Heard?
at the very a simple level, it was the Jewish people.
Okay.
But I'm going on to explore that it should have been all of humanity in the entire world, because God doesn't speak from the top of a mountain. When God speaks, everything speaks.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that there are commentaries that would say it was all human beings. The story is told that every Jewish person heard it, but I would say that it was more than every Jewish person.
Heard, late,
Or
saw,
they heard
light,
and
saw,
became
thunder.
Yes. What do you mean by became?
part of the Jewish people.
Yes. So there was a mass conversion of people after the exodus of Egypt. They were called the mixed multitudes, and people came from all different corners of the world when they heard, all the seekers, and they joined the Jewish people. Many of them were authentic. Unfortunately, many of them were so connected to idolatry, and apparently in those days there was like a temptation to worship idols, which we can't understand because it doesn't exist anymore. So because of that, many problems took place in the desert. But there were many authentic seekers who came. In fact, before Moses passed away, a few weeks before, and he was about to go into the land of Israel, he set out to do a project to translate the Torah into 70 languages, and he carved it in stone at the entrance of Israel before they went over the Jordan. It's a pretty big project to take on, to translate something to 70 languages when you only got a couple of weeks to live. Why all these languages? So the Levush, which is a commentary, he explains that because there were so many languages there, and he wanted an authentic translation. Another explanation, so I guess to rephrase it, so a few weeks before Moses died, he translated the Torah into 70 languages, and he carved it in stone at the entrance to Israel. And why would he do that? It's a big
Because
undertaking.
that many people were coming.
So some say that there were many converts at that time, seekers. But the Rebbe explains that the Torah needs to be translated to 70 languages because non-Jewish people also need to study Torah. And the number 70 is not just any number. We know Noah, and we study the 7 laws of Noah, right? Noahide, B'nai Noah, children of Noah. Noah had 70 descendants. And they ended up getting in trouble when they tried to build the Tower of Babel. You know that story. But the punishment was they each had their language changed, so they couldn't communicate. And that's where the 70 languages came from. And the Kabbalah says that there are 70 soul systems in the world. So humanity is part of a grand plan to ultimately study Torah and be allies with the Jewish people in studying the Torah so they could fulfill the 7 laws of Noah. But you can't study the Torah if you don't read Hebrew. So Moshe establishes the authentic translation of the Torah into 70 languages. Yeah. So B'nai Noah and Noahide philosophy is, I'm teaching you stories of Noah, I'm teaching you stories of Moshe, of Jethro, and you see it's embedded everywhere in the Torah. Why aren't rabbis teaching Torah to humanity? Why are they gatekeeping? There is so much that You don't need to convert to Judaism. You could be what you want to be, but you could find so much meaning and follow the 7 laws of Noah. Why are we gatekeeping? Rabbis, stop the gatekeeping. Maybe there's someone watching and they'll join me. Any rabbis watching right now? We need help. We need to teach the Torah to humanity. Who's watching, by the way? Who's with me? I got some hearts fluttering up. A lot of love. Where are you guys watching from? Welcome aboard. Some more hearts are fluttering up. This is nice. Okay.
I want to share this thought the other day with my super religious family. So what I learned here from the Torah, when we are born, we just become part of God.
When we die, you mean?
No, when we are born, no?
Yeah.
We just become part of God. God gave us that gift to be, and then you say we have a purpose that we have to find out what we're going to do with that life
Right.
and how we're going to act.
Yeah.
So the other day, I have a new nephew, little tiny one, and my sister calls me. And then I was thinking, when the Torah, you don't act, but you don't take. You keep following what is written.
Right.
And now my sister said, well, I'm going to invite you because we're going to introduce a new baby to God. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. When he was born, he was already introduced to God. He's a creation
Right.
of God.
Yeah.
So that led me to believe how people act. What we study here, don't act, don't take, with their own ideas, I guess to be more Christian. There's no need for that.
That's a
As long as
very
it's not
interesting
boring.
point. That's a really, really interesting point, which I think is it's a unique idea. In the Jewish prayers in the morning, there's this beautiful prayer that says, Elikai neshama shenasata bi tahorahi. God, the soul that you gave me, it's pure. And we wake up in the morning and we thank God for our soul, but we make that declaration. And I think we're not necessarily talking to God. I think we're talking to ourselves. I am pure. I'm good. And there's this idea that people are bad and they have to believe in something or convert to something, and that'll make them good.
Yeah.
Now, yes, there are people that do some really bad things, and they should be punished for it. We need to live in a safe world. But they are not bad. Their actions, their choices are bad. People are sparks of the divine, the breath of God. People are good. And imagine we wake up every day and we say, I am good. And so if my inside is good, my outside should reflect my inside. So I think you touched on a very fundamental teaching there.
So what are the
For
good
me.
things to do and the bad things to stay away from?
What are the good things and what are the bad things? Well, that's why we need a guide, and the Torah is our guide.
So when we're sitting and listening to the list about don't kill and don't steal, honor your mom and your dad, and then they get to this one that says don't covet.
Don't covet.
Don't want what somebody else already has, or what belongs to somebody else. And then you think, now it's really going on the inside of my will. So one of the commandments is kind of getting into not just an action about what to do, but it's kind of how to think and feel.
Right?
So that must be like a super concept. And I don't remember that being such a really big deal, but I think that is really like probably the most important one to think about as an emerging learning person.
That's right.
It's got to be
You got to know what it is. Right?
not to want what somebody else has.
Right. I think that a lot of greed, a lot of problems comes when we want what other people, have, And a lot of times we only see the good stuff they have, and we don't see the bad stuff that comes along with it. So, right?
Take care of it.
Someone wrote, Amen Baruch Hashem. Someone's very inspired here. Thank you for joining us. Olive, peach, plum. Yeah.
Can you repeat the prayer that you just?
Oh, Elokai Neshama Shenasata Bi Tahorahi. Lord, the soul that you gave me is pure.
So not only am I speaking to myself, but I am confirming that I'm a child of God.
Oh, I like that.
Like that, confirmation every morning.
Right.
So before I was made aware and do practice Nadani, yay.
Yeah, you do it. You do it. You do it. Yay.
I always spoke and just thank you God for this day.
Yeah,
And had that connection.
right,
And just started that conversation before I even knew.
right.
I get on your knees and.
My mother,
Yeah, little. Yeah. That's important. But, sometimes I forget. To be honest.
Maybe you're hungry.
I was doing I was shooting a video today with my daughter Shayna, who always comes up with good ideas. She says, I have a good idea for a video. I said, okay, what's the idea? She says, well, we know that Jewish people have 613 mitzvahs and a non-Jewish person has 7 mitzvahs. What about dogs? so she's like, how many mitzvahs do dogs have mitzvahs?
Well, let me know because we have a poodle.
Right, you have a poodle. What do you guys think? Do dogs have? So I said, in order to do a mitzvah properly, you need to have free choice. Yeah, you'll see. We're going to edit it and put it out one of these weeks. You need to have free choice to choose. And I said, do dogs have? And we're watching our Neff dog. Ella, my sister Ella's dog, is by us for the week. So we're watching Milo.
Yeah.
So Milo's right next to us, like licking his palms or his paws or whatever. So I say, Milo, do you have free choice? And so Shayna says, yeah, Milo could choose to eat and not choose to eat. But both of those are not really choices. They're just based on mood. So free choice is real when you have two consciousnesses, an animal self and a godly self. And so it's a real choice. Am I going to do what's right morally or what's selfish? A dog is delicious and beautiful, but ultimately they're governed by nature, not by values. I read a terrible study that your cat will eat you after 2 days in the apartment when you die. Terrible, horrible. Just know that. Yeah, you if you're planning on dying, like lock them up. Stay alive. Your dog will take 2 or 3 weeks. Then again, people,
it's all instinct.
right? And then so what happens? This is terrible. Is this why you guys tune in? But anyway, I mean, people could eat people if they're going to die, and yeah, I mean, like you would actually be obligated to sustain yourself. But anyway, that's here nor there. That's not a good example. The point is that animals don't really have real free choice, and free choice is what makes our mitzvahs valuable, right? That's what makes your mitzvah valuable. So dogs don't have mitzvahs, but they do get treats for being good. Anyway.
Based on,
Yeah.
okay, we had spoken, either in this class or my other access to your information, of animal soul and godly soul.
Yeah.
But it's the first time you combine them as required to actually have free choice, that you're considering both.
Well,
You're strictly
it
working
wouldn't
on
be
animal
tree.
soul, like.
It wouldn't be free choice if you only had a godly soul, because you would only do good. And it's not a free choice if you only have an animal soul, because it would only be selfish. It's not a choice. Even like someone's writing here, I've seen dogs choose to visit sick folks in nursing homes, and that's because dogs are beautiful creatures and they do love, but the love is a inborn, biological thing that they feel close to people who feed them. right? It's not like a choosing to overcome their animal self to make a higher decision. So I think that's the difference.
So back to, say that again, if you're working only from godly soul,
Yeah.
you're not really choosing?
No,
It's not free choice?
you don't have free choice if you only have a godly soul. If you didn't have an animal soul, it's no free choice. You're just doing only good because that's the only drive you have.
Ah,
And so in Judaism, someone who's not a tzaddik is a righteous person, right? But a tzaddik is so great, but in some ways he's not. Why? Because he doesn't have a struggle between good and bad. He just does good. So a tzaddik is planted in every generation to be like a inspiring light to us. When you see someone like that, you want to be greater. But the real hero is the ordinary human being that has two drives and makes the decision to overpower the selfish drive and do something selflessly. Tap into the godly soul. So a tzaddik, a prophet, a righteous person is awesome, but someone who's a real regular person who's just trying to get by and does a mitzvah when it's hard, does something for someone else when it's easier to do something for yourself, that's impressive. That's a superhero to us. Yeah.
Could you spell that?
A tzaddik. In English, Tzaddik. Yeah. ZK, tzaddik. Yeah. TZ, tzaddik.
Thank you.
Right. Let's see who. We must give our human will in favor of divine will, Hashem. Yes, that's right. By the way, for those who are getting offended that I said your dog might eat you, okay, I was just trying to make a point. Your dog won't eat you, don't worry. Maybe. No. You know what? Let me fix it. Okay? How do you say dog in Hebrew? Kelev. And you know what Kelev means? It means lev means heart. Kelev means like a heart. A dog is like all heart. Yes. Dogs are such beautiful creatures because they're pure heart. And the language of Hebrew recognizes that. All right, are we good now? All right. Yeah.
Not cats,
What's that?
not cats.
Cats?
Calves.
Cats have actually, the Torah says, the sages say that we could learn something for cats as well.
Okay, good.
We could learn modesty and cleanliness from a cat.
That is true. Oh, yes.
Every creature could teach us values.
Oh, yes.
A cat, when it needs to take care of business,
Oh, yes.
it buries it, it goes to a corner in a very modest way. It's always clean. So we could learn from cats as well. By the way, it looks like we're also live on YouTube here, which is pretty cool. And I'm live on Twitch, and there's one person watching on Twitch. I don't even know what Twitch is, but whoever's watching me on Twitch, thank you. Maybe I'll figure out what Twitch is. And there's got to be a way. Oh, there's chat going on, and I'm not even answering you guys. I'm sorry. Here we go. Hey. If you guys are online, I know. What's happening?
She was like that 12-year-old.
Yeah, I should have shut off the thing. All right, so apparently people could also chat, and we could actually. Okay. Sorry, guys, people have been calling me. Gamers watch on Twitch. Look at that. I'm a gamer now. Gamer Rabbi. Does anyone have that username? Gamer Rabbi. Anyway, so who's watching us on Instagram? Are you guys with us? You feeling it? You going to come back next week? Oh, you see me on Instagram? Yeah. Baruch Hashem. Oh, good answer. Good answer. All right. That's not me. Oh, yes, Dan's watching online. Dan, what are you doing online? Get your tuchus over here. You should be with us. This is,
Here's your seat, Dan.
And a C minus,
you.
C minus, but not showing.
oh my gosh. He's loving it so far. He's like, why do I have to go get in the car and drive? I could sit on here.
No excuse.
Yeah, no. Listen to me, Dan. Everyone here who's watching, there's some people watching live, they would love to be here in person, but they're in Portugal. Where else?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. We had people from all over the world. They would love to be here. You're 15 minutes away, but you're lazy. Anyway. No, I could say it to Dan. We're buddies. We're friends. All right, Dan, you got to put a cushion on a seat. Okay. All right, you got it.
We'll do a puppet, man.
I had to carry my own chair.
Still trying to see the chats online here. It's not showing up. I know I have chats, but how do we do it? Let's do that. Okay, studio. Oh, wait, maybe here. Oh, I found it. Baruch Hashem. I'm watching from Margate. Jerry's watching from Margate. Okay. Kohen Tzedek. Yes. Wow, I caught a live. Hey, good. This is great. So people could. This is awesome. All right. Where were we? Let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah. A doggy is all heart. Okay, so we said the Torah was given in last week's Torah portion. 10 commandments, 7 Noahide laws. This week's Torah portion is called Mishpatim, which means laws. We go from last week, the big revelation, I am the Lord your God, right?
Here's the Big Ten.
And now we're getting into details. How many laws are there in the Jewish Torah? 613 mitzvos for Jewish people. 7 commandments for non-Jews. However, they break down to close to 100 laws. A lot of those subcategories of the 7 laws of Noach are found where? In this week's Torah portion. We read 53 commandments. 53. Well, the rest are spread out in the whole Torah. In 1 week, this is a lot of laws crammed into one Torah portion. So we don't have all the time in the world. I thought I would start with one. Okay, it talks a lot about, like, I'll give you an example. If you have a bull, you're on a farm, you have a bull. We have at least one farmer here, all right? And the bull decides to run loose into a store and break a bunch of china, okay? Are you responsible, or do you say, it wasn't me, it was the bull? I mean, what do you want from me, right? So the Torah says you're responsible for the damages. And if it hurts someone, what level are you responsible for? And so there's different levels depending on, is this the first offense of the animal? Or is it the third offense? If it's the third offense, we say it's not just an accident. You got a wild animal there, and you should know that it's going to do that. If it happened once, it could be a nice bull, and just one day there was a bee or something, so it went crazy, right? You could apply that to your puppy that bites people, right? If it happened once. Okay, twice, all right, 3 times, why isn't that dog on a leash?
I had a cat that was killed by my neighbor's pit bull. And they left it in
Oh,
the
you-
yard.
You had to go knock on the door, was that you? Yeah, you had to go.
But no, I watched it happen, and the dog was running loose in the yard, and I found out later from other neighbors that it had killed a Chihuahua. They didn't get.
So that dog is called, in Hebrew,
Home,
right,
and the dog had free reign.
it's called the Shar Muad, is a cow that gores more than 3 times.
Okay.
And it's a different category, the owner is really responsible. Okay, so these are the kind of laws we're going to find, Mishpatim. But the opening of the Torah portion starts, V'ela Mishpatim, and these are the laws.
And these are.
But why does it say and? You don't start a new book or a new chapter with and. So the answer is you do when it's connected to the previous chapter. Everyone knows you got to follow the everyone knows you have to follow the 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments. But the rest of the laws, there are many in the Torah, and most of these are for everyone, right? Because it says establish courts of law. Well, what's the law going to rule? The laws are here. But they say, the other ones are not for me. The 10 Commandments, yeah, but not all the other laws. No. It starts, V'ela hamishpatim, and these are the laws. Continuation for last week. Whatever reverence and awe you have for the 10 Commandments, pay attention, because these are just as important. The same God commanded them. So that's why the Torah portion begins with a vav, which means and. It's a connection. Got to treat it all with the same reverence. Yeah, God chose to take 10 and make them the example laws. I'm fine, but that doesn't mean the rest don't exist. Okay. One of the laws is, okay, I'll do it like this. In 2013, Catherine and Herbert Schabel were arrested on accounts of manslaughter for the death of both of their children.
2013.
You could Google it. True story. They were a fundamentalist Christian family, and they believed that you cannot go to a doctor. And first, in 2009, one of the children got very sick. They refused to take the child to the doctor and give antibiotics. The child died of a high fever. In 2013, the same thing happened. And that's when the authorities connected the dots and they arrested them. And their claim was, we believe God is real. If God is real, God will heal them. Tragically, God did not heal them. While it's a terrible story, I can't help to ask the question, but maybe they're right. If we do believe in God, why do we go to doctors? And why do we take medicine? We should just pray to God. Pray away all the illnesses. And the answer, actually, the Talmud says, can be found in this week's Torah portion. Because one of the commandments in Mishpatim is, if one person strikes another person and causes damage, the person who strikes that person has to pay for the missed work, has to pay for the pain, and also has to pay for the doctor bills. And the Talmud says, and from here, we see that the Torah allows one to go to a doctor and seek medical help. Now, I know this sounds like a silly conversation, that's common sense. No, it's not common sense, because it's a good question. If you really believe in God, why are you going to the doctor? And so some people came to this conclusion, but they only read the 10 Commandments. They didn't read the rest of the Torah. The Torah says that shows you that there are doctors, they have bills, and you got to pay for it when you harm someone. And so the sages say the Torah God gives the permission for the doctor to heal. But remember one thing, it's not the doctor, it's God. A doctor needs to realize that they are a conduit to the blessing of health. And remain humble. While they're very knowledgeable, need to be humble as a conduit of God's blessing.
Yeah. There's a three-part, not poem, but I till the soil, but God grows.
I till the soil, but God grows.
Right.
Yeah.
I dress the wound, but God heals.
I dress the wound, but God heals. I'm just saying it so they could hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget the third part, but it's
Right.
all, we are just channels.
Right.
If we're lucky.
And so there was a story where someone once had a bad medical situation, and they went to their doctor, and the doctors told them that there's no cure for this. You're going to die. And one of the Rebbes heard this and got and responded very seriously. A doctor does not have the right to say that because life and death is a gift from God. The doctor has the permission to heal, and that's it. You've crossed the line. Yeah. So God gave us a blessing, gave us the wisdom and knowledge of medicine. In ancient times, we had ancient medicine. Today, we have more advanced medicine, but it's a gift. We're supposed to use it. And the doctor is an agent of God. Which, by the way, is a good time to address one of the big, people have a lot of problems with the Talmud. They read like verses from the Talmud and they try to say how Talmud is terrible, because it says all these bad things. So most of these verses are misquoted. They're not translated properly. Some of them don't exist. And some of them are just completely out of context. But one of these verses that get under people's skin when they read the Talmud is the Talmud says, even the best of doctors go to hell. And it really says that. What are you saying about doctors? The guy went to medical school for 12 years. He's got $500,000 in student debt. And what's the Talmud say? That even the best of doctors go to hell? And what about some of the greatest Jewish rabbis were doctors? The Rambam, Maimonides was one.
My brother is a doctor.
Her brother's a doctor. What? How could the Talmud say such a... How could it? And the problem is people don't know how to read the Talmud. They don't realize how deep and rich the Talmud is. You don't get it. Listen. You have to open your heart for this, friends. The best doctor, you know what makes a good doctor? Not someone who listens half-heartedly to someone's problem and writes them a script and sends them on the way. No, a doctor who holds the hand of the patient, he looks into their eyes, and the doctor feels their pain, feels their suffering, listens to what they're going through, and truly cares. That's the best doctor. Talk about bedside manner. That's a good doctor who has empathy, not just wisdom, who gives you strength, shows that he or she cares. The best of doctors, the Talmud says, goes to hell with the patient. If the patient's in pain, the doctor's in pain as well. And the doctor feels it. You can't study the Talmud like you're reading a novel on the weekends. Every word is packed with wisdom. And so if you see any verses from the Talmud anywhere, and you're like, whoa, does the Talmud really say that? Well, it may not, because there's a lot of fake verses out there. But if it does, ask a rabbi, what does it mean? And you may want to study a little more Talmud. You never know.
I have a favorite quote.
Yeah.
We very consistently saying, well, who was the commentator or who was the sage?
Right.
I haven't been able, maybe you know. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now, live wisely now. And it's about actions now, and don't be overwhelmed
Right.
At the severity of things.
That's a good suggestion.
But I haven't been able to find the source where it's part of the thing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. If you find it, can you send it to me?
Still looking.
Okay. Oh, you're still looking. By the way, someone wrote, you save one life, you save the world. That's right. Yo-Yo wrote that. And Yo-Yo's watching from either from Facebook or Twitter. I'm not sure. Yeah. But, okay, if you guys are enjoying this class, please remember we're going to try to be here every Monday night. I think next week we'll go back to 7. We only went to 7:30 because of that one event, but it's getting a little late for people. Do you want to go back to 7?
7 works.
All right, so we'll start the class around 7, okay? And then those that are coming online, it takes me 15 minutes to unpack all my wires. So by the time I'm live, it's probably 7:15. But I might be earlier. Anyway, if anyone has any questions online, now's the opportunity. I'll give you one last teaching. What time is it? It's 8:40. Okay. Shalom, Rabbi. I don't know you did lives on your YouTube channel. Yeah, hey, I'm still trying to figure out how to use it. I found the program where I could go live on multiple channels. So this is right now live on, I think, my Rabbi Raps account on YouTube. I was actually trying to go on my Humans for Noah account on YouTube, but for some reason it went to my Rabbi Raps account. So anyway, yeah.
We're happy to know you, whichever field.
Yeah, but if people want to watch it again,
Right.
they have to know. I have another account. It's called Humans, the number 4 Noah, and I also post there as well. Toda Rabbi, absolutely 100%. Thank you guys. Okay, one more teaching for the road. Okay, if you see the enemy of your donkey falling under its load, help you shall help. You shall assist it. That's what the Torah tells us. It's a pretty interesting concept. My enemy's donkey is suffering. I don't like my enemy. Let the animal collapse. Let the stuff fall on the floor. Right? No. You have to go and help it out. Is it about animal rights? Is it about being, not being a person that has, revenge? There's a lot of layers to this teaching.
Well, the person, the enemy, is also mistreating the donkey.
You're saying the fact that the
The
enemy,
donkey's enemy too.
you're saying it's the donkey's enemy too. Wow, I never even thought of it that way. Okay, that's interesting. So the poor donkey,
So like the
the enemy of your friend is your friend.
right, whatever.
Okay, right. But this is interesting. This is interesting that the Torah says your enemy. It's like very loaded. So there's this simple way to study the Torah, and it has its simple meaning. But the founder of the Hasidic movement, the Kabbalist, the Baal Shem Tov, gives a deeper insight and says, this is an analogy. Who is the donkey of your enemy? Inside of us, we said, we have 2 souls. We have a godly soul and an animal soul. The donkey of your enemy could be depicted as your body. When your body is being overwhelmed and being crushed by its load. What load? The animal soul wants a lot of stuff. The animal soul wants money, wants power, wants a lot, and it's collapsing. What do? Help, you shall help your body. And this is kind of a paradigm shift. In many spiritual doctrines, there's holiness and spirituality that's somewhere up there, and then there's the earth and your body and materialism. And in many spiritual doctrines, in many spiritual paths, in order to be more spiritual, you should go on hunger strikes, you should harm your body, maybe hit your body, cause yourself to bleed, stay up all night, force yourself not to sleep, harm your body. The Torah says, if you see the enemy of your donkey overburdened by its load, you shall help it. The donkey represents the animal soul's donkey is the body. And our body, we have to help. The spiritual masters say, you want to be a spiritual person, you need a healthy body. You need to do exercise. You need to eat properly. You need to take care of yourself. It's not godly to be out of shape. It's not godly to be unhealthy, because your body is the vessel, the vehicle of your soul. You need that donkey. The stronger the body is, the longer you could pray, the further you could travel to do a good deed, to help someone. So in Judaism, there's a focus on a healthy body. There are times for fasting, but it's not a regular practice. And the Yom Kippur is a time that you remove from the body, so you fast on Yom Kippur on a few other times of the year. But as a regular practice, take care of yourself. Oh, and it's a commandment in the Torah. Even if you don't want to do it, God wants you to do it.
And if you're healthy and take care of yourself, then you can take care of yourself of the other responsibility that you have.
Exactly. Well, thank you, my friends. Rabbi Raps, when do you, I already read that one. Okay. And I'll see you guys later. And hey, guys on Instagram. Oh, 10 of you stuck around to listen to what